Now, I do have some hopeful news. We know that this is still a dire challenge. We know this is a fateful disease. We know that we have not turned the corner, and we are not even close to the end of this battle. But we do think there's some evidence that our community mitigation strategies, the things we've done already to close schools, to close restaurants and theaters, to prohibit gatherings, we think these things have been able to slow the rate of increase in King, Snohomish, and Pierce counties. And if you'll look on your screen, I'd like to make a reference to this graph. If you look on the graph you're seeing, there's a blue line that basically tails off and down towards the end of the blue line. And this graph demonstrates the number of diagnosed infections over the last couple of weeks from an equivalent start date for wherever the state had, a particular state had about a certain number of infections, 20 infections. So this basically puts all the states on the same starting point when they had 20 infections. And then it totals the number as it goes forward. So what you're seeing is that our line has gone up. Bad news. And fatalities have continued to increase. But if you'll look at the line, it has some slight reduction in the rate of its acceleration, the curve, the level of curve. And we've all heard about turning down the curve. This graph shows a very slight lessening of the rate of increase by looking at its curve. It's a small reduction of the rate of increase, but it is a glimmer of hope. And the reason it's a glimmer of hope is that this is suggestive that some of the things we're doing together is having some very modest improvement. And that ought to give us an additional commitment to the things we're doing today, because the things we did 2 weeks ago are now appearing in our hospitals. And we want to continue that effort as well. Now, I want to reiterate something about this graph. Do we still have the graph up? Yeah, we still have. I hope the graph is on the screen. Thank you. We need to understand this. This is very important. We cannot let up on this virus even if we get to a point where there's continuation of reducing the rate of increase. And we eventually want to see these numbers start to drop down on a weekly basis. But the fact is we have to hammer this until we can be assured that it will not spring back up. And so we will not be able to be confident that we can release some of our joint efforts in the state until we're very confident of that. Because it will not be successful to have a success these first 2 weeks and then give up with all of our efforts and have this thing spring back on us. We need our economy to come back as fast as possible. And the way to do this is to eliminate this virus in our state.